Hello, I'm Dina Maini from Artial, and I would like to welcome you to the fifth and final international meeting of Interreg Europe project Agrores, Renewable Energies in Agriculture. Welcome to the partners who came here with some of their stakeholders in this beautiful location, which is the Botanical Garden of Rome. Welcome also to our stakeholders from Lazio, who are in attendance, and welcome to all the others who are following us by streaming. Okay. A few words to say what Artial is. It's an agency of Lazio region that deals with agriculture and in particular with innovation leading to sustainable and environmentally friendly agriculture. I would like to introduce to you Sabina Nicolella from Ecosistemi Foundation, who will moderate this international meeting with me. Please, Sabina.
Thank you, Dina, and thank you for the invitation to take part in this meeting. It's a real pleasure to be here. Sorry, I have a very loud voice and not a good friend with microphones. It's a pleasure to be here with you. I've met virtually with some of you a few months ago when we had an online meeting, and I was co-moderating with Dina the meeting. I work with Fondazione Ecosistemi, who is an external contractor on this project, and we support private and public organizations in formulating and implementing strategies and policies for sustainability and for the ecological transition. So it's a real pleasure to be here, and I will accompany you through our morning and through our works. And but before we start, I have some warnings for you. 2 warnings. Please take the first one really seriously. At 12 there will be a surprise. Don't be scared, it's very loud. So please don't be scared. Don't run away. The second warning, it's actually an invitation. When we will finish the session of this morning, we will have 2 sessions. A first one which is institutional greetings, and then a second one which will be focusing on the action plans and the details of the project. At the end of the second session, I will invite you to come closer to this desk so that we will send our greetings also to whoever is following us from Facebook and from the streaming online. So I think all the warnings are over, and we can start our working session. Okay, we will start with 2 videos that will bring us the greetings and an introduction to the morning. The first one is from Mario Ciarla, the president of Artial, which is the Lazio Regional Agencies for Agricultural Development and Innovation. So please, I ask kindly the technicians to send the first video. Thank you.
Salve a tutti, mi scuso per non poter essere qui con voi, ma ci tenevo a dare personalmente il benvenuto ai partner e ai stakeholder venuti da 6 regioni europee per presentare i loro piani di azione nell'ambito del progetto Agrores per lo sviluppo delle energie rinnovabili nel mondo rurale e agricolo. Questa è la seconda volta che partecipo al progetto e ricordo ancora il video girato in occasione dell'evento internazionale che si sarebbe dovuto svolgere a Roma nel febbraio del 2021, ma che a causa della pandemia abbiamo dovuto svolgere da remoto. Molto è cambiato sul tema delle rinnovabili in quest'ultimo anno e mezzo. C'è stato l'avvio concreto del PNRR con alcuni fondamentali bandi e c'è stato soprattutto il decreto 199 del 2021 che ha recepito in Italia la direttiva europea sulla promozione dell'uso delle energie rinnovabili, così come modificata più recentemente dal Repower. Ecco, noi stiamo attraversando una fase molto particolare perché avevamo all'orizzonte l'uscita della pandemia e quindi anche un aumento delle previsioni di crescita del prodotto interno lordo, ma tutto questo è entrato come un fulmine a ciel sereno il 24 febbraio, l'invasione russa dell'Ucraina e quindi il conflitto nel cuore dell'Europa. Questo ha provocato immediatamente delle conseguenze, specie in un paese come il nostro che importa il 40% del gas dalla Russia, e quindi c'è un tema anche di sovranità energetica e sovranità alimentare, le due cose sono molto legate, perché questo aumento dei prezzi, peraltro quasi in una tempesta perfetta, perché oggi noi l'aumento del grano lo abbiamo più legato al nostro paese, alla siccità che ha colpito l'anno scorso il Canada, che agli effetti veri e propri del conflitto. Però invece gli effetti veri e propri del conflitto li paghiamo, e li paghiamo purtroppo in modo importante su quello che riguarda il prezzo dell'energia, su quello che riguarda l'industria dei fertilizzanti, specie quelle industrie energivore sono quelle che più soffrono, e questo aumento dei prezzi poi nella filiera alimentare arriva e colpisce in modo importante chi? Soprattutto le fasce più deboli della popolazione, che sono quelle che più soffrono di questa situazione. Quindi oggi Agrores è più attuale ed è più importante di ieri, perché questo percorso anche di costruzione di autonomia energetica tramite lo sviluppo delle comunità energetiche è ancora più importante. Quindi, coerentemente alla capacità di Artial di intervenire e finanziare questi progetti, noi cercheremo sempre di più di allargare il campo d'azione attraverso l'help desk, ma anche attraverso le attività di animazione territoriale, quante più realtà possibili legate all'agricoltura. Ringrazio quindi il Joint Secretariat che ha approvato il piano, i competenti organi regionali, tutti i dipendenti di Artial, a partire dalla dottoressa Maini, che hanno lavorato per la realizzazione di questo progetto, che noi vorremmo sempre di più ampliare e diffondere, grazie agli stakeholder che sono venuti qui oggi con noi e che sono in diretta streaming da tanti paesi, dall'Estremadura in Spagna, la Nord Carelia in Finlandia, da Ilfov in Romania, Devon in Inghilterra, Sligo e Northern and West Region in Irlanda, Lubolskie Voivodeship in Polonia e ovviamente dal Lazio. Buon lavoro!
I would like to thank President Charla for this important contribution that has reminded us, among other things, of the important interconnections that run between energy, food security, and peace and conflict prevention. And so this is just to say that we are aiming very high this morning. The issues that we are tackling this morning are very relevant, very, very important. And I would like to pass the word through a video again to the Councillor for Agriculture, Forestry Promotion and Food Culture and Equal Opportunities, Enrica Onorati.
Un saluto a tutti i partecipanti dell'evento finale del progetto Interreg Europe Agrores. Siamo molto contenti di espletare l'evento conclusivo di questo progetto proprio nella nostra regione, nella nostra splendida capitale che è Roma. Abbiamo seguito con molto interesse e in maniera indiretta l'approvazione e la stesura del piano, un policy instrument selezionato come target per il progetto che ha riguardato come titolarità l'assessorato alla transizione ecologica, ma con un protagonismo anche di noi come agricoltura, perché ne siamo davvero convinti e coinvolti e sul tema delle energie rinnovabili crediamo che si debba fare ognuno la propria parte. È infatti necessario ragionare e ragionare soprattutto di insieme, in sinergia, e progettualità come questo lo permettono, e lo permettono anche perché ricordano a tutte e a tutti di come sia importantissimo lavorare in agricoltura non soltanto come attività primaria in termini di produzione di cibo e materie prime, ma soprattutto primaria poiché indispensabile al mantenimento e alla preservazione della vita sulla terra. Siamo sicuramente in un tempo in cui i danni e i cambiamenti climatici, conseguentemente i danni ambientali, ci rendono da un lato vittime, dall'altro anche possibili artefici. Ed è per questo che dobbiamo tutti insieme trovare la nuova strada per far fronte comune, per trovare una forma più concreta e sostenibile in agricoltura. Per un rispetto ovviamente delle risorse naturali che possano essere ovviamente di aiuto agli ecosistemi e che possano permettere anche una resilienza degli stessi. E ciò tramite assolutamente nuovi modelli di approccio all'agricoltura e al settore produttivo primario, appunto, con un lavoro sulle tecniche di irrigazione, con i cambiamenti che debbono vederci rinnovati in termini sia di varietà culturali recuperate o appunto resilienti, o anche rispetto a piani culturali in termini di semini in raccolta che vadano al passo col tempo e col clima che cambia. Importantissime sono poi le pratiche che riguardano la gestione dei suoli, la selezione ovviamente delle coltivazioni in alternativa ovviamente e in anche sostegno a tutto quello che gli agenti patogeni purtroppo ci restituiscono, sia in termini di azioni di prevenzione e di controllo che appunto sulle fitopedie dobbiamo mettere ancora di più estremamente in campo. Siamo anche molto lieti di poter far parte di questo progetto e di aver dato il nostro contributo come Direzione Agricoltura e come Artial, proprio perché abbiamo bisogno di policy instrument adeguati e che leggano il tempo che cambia anche in un settore così importante e così legato all'uomo e alla donna sulla terra. Il nostro riferimento ovviamente per sostenere tutto questo, per accompagnarlo anche in termini di risorse economiche, risiede in uno strumento importante a livello comunitario. Sono i fondi strutturali e per noi vuol dire il FEASR, vuol dire il piano di sviluppo rurale del Fondo Europeo per l'Agricoltura e appunto lo sviluppo rurale. Siamo impegnati anche infatti in questi giorni sia in un lavoro di nuova programmazione di risorse ma anche di bandi che proprio permettono, come le misure agroambientali, agroclimatico-ambientali, di sostenere e di incoraggiare buone pratiche in agricoltura per gli agricoltori che vogliono offrire un servizio ambientale a vantaggio di tutta la società, migliorando loro stessi ma migliorando anche l'habitat all'interno dei quali sono ospiti come tutti quanti su questa terra. È importante infatti ricordare come attraverso lo sviluppo rurale noi possiamo assolutamente chiedere ma anche restituire rispetto a coloro che si impegnano e che creano quell'agricoltura che sia su modelli compatibili e sostenibili rispetto al miglioramento e alla tutela ambientale, alla preservazione del paesaggio, delle sue caratteristiche e anche al mantenimento delle risorse naturali e della biodiversità. Un lavoro poi importante col quale ci poniamo ovviamente al centro come agricoltura per essere anche al passo col tema delle autonomie e della sovranità, non solo alimentare ma anche energetica. Tema di estrema attualità, quello che è divenuto ovviamente la necessità per il nostro paese e per il nostro continente di accelerare rispetto al tema delle rinnovabili e di accelerare però con ovviamente anche uno sguardo sempre rispetto anche al rispetto del territorio e del paesaggio. Un lavoro importante quello sulle energie rinnovabili a cui questo settore può assolutamente al pari della crisi alimentare, anche sulla crisi energetica, dare e apportare il proprio contributo. Su questo ovviamente si sta lavorando come sistema paese su una misura molto importante, quella dell'agrifotovoltaico e del parco solare, proprio attraverso anche risorse in quel caso del PNRR in maniera complementare ai soldi e alle risorse messe in campo dei piani di sviluppo rurale. Noi crediamo che debbano maturare delle scelte e concretamente debba realizzarsi questo approvvigionamento energetico in forma circolare e autonoma da parte delle aziende, che non soltanto possono servire loro stesse, ma che possono anche restituire anche opportunità importanti ai modelli, alle comunità e ai territori in cui insistono. È per questo che il piano di azione elaborato appunto da Artial per Agrores mira davvero al coinvolgimento dei territori, delle comunità rurali, anche attraverso i biodistretti, per cercare per affrontare il tema della sovranità energetica, delle rinnovabili e di farlo in una forma importante, nuova, con una indipendenza energetica e di efficientamento di un territorio più ampio, al quale l'agricoltura può assolutamente contribuire e dare il proprio contributo. È proprio infatti attraverso la comunità e dalla comunità in cui molto spesso nei nostri territori, anche per conformazione, insistiamo come aziende agricole o zootecniche o di altro tipo, e su questo noi possiamo assolutamente dare quel ritorno che non è meramente economico per l'agricoltore o per l'impresa agricola, ma che può divenire anche un ritorno etico e sociale per la comunità all'interno del quale quegli insediamenti, quegli investimenti insistono. Il mondo rurale da sempre è il più attento alle relazioni umane e ai legami con il territorio. È lì che è essenza e sede. Ogni sede legale, rappresentativa e sito produttivo ha sede all'interno di una comunità più ampia. Fosse ovviamente quella legata appunto alle comunità rurali, fosse anche quella legata ai nostri piccoli e bellissimi comuni in tutto il territorio sparsi. Ecco, su questo, all'interno anche della filiera energetica, noi siamo in grado assolutamente di poter concorrere a dare una risposta che è ovviamente sia economica in termini di economia circolare, ma anche restitutiva a livello anche più globale e territoriale. La possibilità per noi deriva sia ovviamente dalle rinnovabili di tipo solare termico, ma anche da tutto quello che può derivare anche dalla filiera agricola, e quindi dagli scarti agricoli, dalle biomasse che possono concorrere ovviamente anche alla produzione energetica di un sovabito all'interno del quale queste realtà insistono. È davvero prezioso quindi il lavoro, e voglio fare un plauso ovviamente ad Artial e a chi ha seguito in maniera diretta questo percorso, a tutte direzione e gli uffici coinvolti di Regione Lazio, a tutti i nostri partner europei che hanno ovviamente concorso in questo Interreg, l'hanno fatto tutti insieme e vi ringrazio davvero per questa fase. Vi auguro ovviamente rispetto a questa prima fase un proseguo per la seconda fase di questo progetto che sia davvero proficuo e utile, come senz'altro si è dimostrato questa prima fase, a tutti i nostri agricoltori e agricoltrici della Regione Lazio, ma anche a noi come istituzioni, perché dobbiamo impegnarci ovviamente a mettercela tutta e a restare ovviamente sul campo da voi, diciamo, studiato ed esperito e assolutamente approfondito in una maniera tecnica, scientifica e divulgativa di estremo valore. Grazie a tutti.
Thank you. Okay. I also virtually thank our councillor. And before I pass the word for a welcome greeting from the director of the Botanical Garden that is hosting us this morning, Fabio Torre, I would like to thank him personally for allowing us to be in such a beautiful, beautiful location. And I would like to invite you to take a slower visit of the garden and enjoy also the expertise of the many guides and professionals that work for it, because it's really worth it. Thank you.
Good morning. Sorry, I was stuck in the traffic jam of the city. Rome is a beautiful country, but sometimes can be difficult because of the too many cars. I'm very happy to have you here today at the Botanic Garden for many reasons. Nowadays, botanical gardens are mainly focused on the conservation of biodiversity. And this is what we do as a garden. We have biodiversity conservation projects all over the world. But biodiversity is not only wild species that are at risk of extinctions, but also it's about the conservation of the agrobiodiversity, let's say the varieties that have been that are occurring or that have been selected or created by man to produce food, for instance. And this is a new topic for us. And this is the reason why when they asked me to host this important meeting, I immediately say yes. And because we are strengthening also the collaboration between the Artial and Botanic Garden in this specific topic. And we started to do some research, some scientific investigations. For instance, maybe you'll have the chance to visit the garden. We created a very nice vineyard where we are cultivating 160 different varieties of Italian grape. Okay, and we are also studying the capacity of these grapes to produce wine in urban environment. So it's also important for us to study all the possibilities of producing food in urban environment. So urban farming is an important topic. Botanic Garden is also nice places to increase the awareness among people about the importance of the agrobiodiversity. Okay. So we are organizing a lot of events to show the importance of producing food in urban environments, to protect agrobiodiversity, to implement agroecology. Because if we want to protect the biodiversity, we need to work with farmers. And this is also an important topic for us. And the last point is that we are also involved in training the new generation of scientists and practitioners focus on the agrobiodiversity and agroecology. And every year we organize, and I would like to also to invite my colleagues from Arsia to participate to it. We organize a summer school together with the colleagues from FAO, from IFAD, from Agrobiodiversity International, to train scientists, practitioners, technicians on the concept on how to protect agrobiodiversity, how to implement agroecology, from the theory to the practice. In fact, we also engage in the summer school, which is called GROW, Agrobiodiversity in a Changing Climate, We also involved, let's say, organizations such as, so for instance, Slow Food, which is really involved in these activities all over the world, and Natura Sea. So we are going to bring also students to see an organic farm. So this is an important topic. We are on the front line together with our colleagues from Martial, and I welcome again to the Botanic Garden. I wish you a very fruitful conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much also for pointing out the importance of the Botanical Garden also as a key research center in the city. We can now move on to the second part of our morning, and we can start exploring the action plans that will be implemented in the second phase of Agrores project. So I will invite all the partners one by one, obviously, to come and present. I apologize because I don't have all the names of the speakers, so I will just call the organization and I will kindly ask you to briefly introduce yourself. Okay, so I also remind all the speakers in this session that you have approximately 10 minutes. If you go over this time, I will signal you. So please look at me sometimes, okay? Okay, we can start now with Agenex, the Extremadura agency, energy agency. Yes, avete la presentazione?
The presentation of Javier. Here it is.
Okay.
And here is
Okay.
the green one.
Okay. Hello. So my name is Javier. I'm from Extremadura Energy Agency. So I'm going to introduce the action plan from Extremadura. Do you listen to me? Yeah. No. So before starting to explain the Extremadura action plan, I would like to explain why we have chosen this action plan and where it came from. Firstly, you must know that the main objective of Agrores project is to increase the use of renewable energy in agricultural and rural area. And focusing this topic, we have been working during the phase 1. During these 3 years, and thanks to our Agrores project, we have been able to elaborate our action plan, which will support the increase of use of renewable energy in the rural areas. Our action plan comes from the lesson learned from the different from the exchange of experience from the different countries. As for example, some good practices as could be the presented in Devon County Council, the community-owned energy, in which the community energy organizations offer the citizen the chance to own renewable energy assets and develop funds to tackle low carbon issues. Another example could be the study visits, as the first course could be visited in Sligo, Ireland, where we have the chance to participate in a formative seasons on a community solar and farming development. During this meeting, we learn about the renewable energy in the community, how the renewable energy community are managed, and configure from the startup to raising investment for the energy generation. And finally, on the other hand, from the regional analysis, and thanks to our Agrores project, we have elaborated our regional self-assess document. This feasibility analysis revealed that consumers lack a lot of information regarding to the provision of energy services. The condition of awareness makes the implementation in renewable energy technology in this sector difficult. This document showed that the adoption of renewable solution by the sector is perfectly feasible, saying it fits the energy consumption profile, type of energy, and the demand and location. So we detected that the potential solution could be the implementation of energy communities in rural areas. So the integration in renewable energy in agriculture and in agroindustry, in agro-industry sector, in Extremadura is not only perfectly viable, but it's also necessary. So thanks to those examples, we can confirm that the implementation of renewable energy communities in Extremadura is possible and real. Because of that, we developed our action plan focused on this concept. So, finally, our action plan is made with a single action that give a technical and a financial advice to develop a new energy communities in rural area. And we will do that through a specific session in the one-stop shop by centralizing the different grants available from the different funds, as could be the RDF or PRTR funds. So, to achieve to this goal, we will influence over a policy instrument. In our case, we will work on the Recovery, Transformation and Resilience Plan, PRTR from its initial in Spanish. So, this plan is a national plan that defines the roadmap for the modernization of the Spanish economy after the COVID crisis or after the Ukrainian war, and to respond to the challenge of the coming decades. Within the framework of this plan, we focus on the strategic projects for economic recovery and transformation, PRRTE from the initial in Spanish, and exactly on projects in renewable energy, renewable hydrogen, and energy strategies. Also, this strategy, this policy instrument is a national level, but the specific funds are allocated for every autonomous community, are managed in a regional level. In our case, the budget estimated for Extremadura is around 241 million euros. So, as I say, the Extremadura action plan is made from one single action, and to achieve to this goal, we will develop several activities during phase 2. Okay, the phase 2 is just one year, and we will start with the first activity is to develop a specific assessment line in the one-stop shop for renewable energy community. As I already said, the first activity will develop a specific session in the one-stop shop in our region. In order to do that, AGENEX, in collaboration with the regional government, we have then take a series of digital work within the exciting online platform to include the specific assessment line. Second, we design a specific session in the one-stop shop for renewable energy community. So, during the initial stage, AGENEX, we also work to design an additional section as a part from the establishment of the assessment line. The one-stop shop, we also include a specific tab with information related to the development of energy community. The information included in this section will be continually updated with information about the grant or law from the website will continually updated. Third, establishing a group of experts to provide advice. So we have already the information, but we need a group of experts that will be the responsibility for providing technical and financial advice to the citizens, to the public administration, and other entities about the possibility of energy communities. The information provided by the expert group will be based on the knowledge learned thanks to the interregional exchange and Agrores project. 4, information session about the line of one-stop shop about the community. So this advice will be promoted through several information and training sessions held by AGENEX for the citizen, for the public administration and the private sectors. At the same time, these seminars will help to boot the new concept of energy communities and at the same time the one-stop job. So 5, the meeting with the public authority. We will organize periodic meetings with the public body to ensure the adequate commitment of the public administration and to develop the new energy communities. And finally, the last activity will be the monitoring. So we will monitor all the process during the one-stop shop. We'll monitor, analyze the implementation of new energy communities in rural area. For practically, that's all from our action plan. So many thanks for your attendance. If you have any questions, just let me know. Okay. Thank you so much.
So we'll leave all the questions to the end. So if you have any question for any of the speakers, just mark them down, and there will be a question and answer session right at the end. So I invite now the Lubelskie Voivodeship to come over. And after that, we will have the Devon County Council. Thank you. Thank you. You want this? No, this is for the mic.
Hello, my name is Alina Kowalczyk-Juśko. I'd like to present our action plan for Lubelskie Voivodeship in Poland. Our action plan aims to impact the part of our regional development policy instrument, and we plan 2 actions. The first is incorporation of the Agrores project effects into strategy documents of the Lubelskie Voivodeship. And the second one action is establish a consultation point. Our inspiration was the Devon County example, which was in a good practice community on energy, is in the book of good practice. The action plan was to implementation of Agrores project to the regional document. This document is entitled Development Strategy for the Lubelskie Voivodeship. It is the first version was from 2014-2020, and now we have actual strategy for 2030 perspective. This document is very important because it's the main document shaping the region's development policy. It's a comprehensive guide for defines the mission and vision of development of all our voivodeship, Lubelskie Voivodeship. It's the support tool for regional authorities in planning and managing the region. And this document is the main indicator for sectoral and operational documents in the region. And is the basis for construction of the regional operational program for our voivodeship. And it plays a very important educational and social role for our people in this region. Strategy of this region is we make actualization for this document, and actualization time was from 2019, and is last version adopted in 2021. And it was the time when we started Agrores project realization. And we can put the main of parts of Agrores project to this document. In old version of strategy was no much information and plans about Agrores, about renewable energy, and our work changed it. Thanks to Agrores project, it was possible to use the information contained in the self-assessment report and the knowledge we obtained as a part of analysis of best practice in partner regions, and the developed conclusions we included to this strategy. Our addition concerned improving the competitiveness of farms, supporting bottom-up initiatives, and developing the production and use of renewable energy sources in Lubelskie region. In the long term, this is to contribute to shaping the awareness of the society and influence to the activities undertaken by all entities operating in the region. What are details of this operation? We can put in two strategic objectives our work. Objective one is shaping strategic agricultural resources, and direction of activities, it was increasing the energy efficiency of farms, increasing the production and use of energy from renewable energy sources, especially in rural areas, and development of agriculture, retail trade, and better systemic links with wholesalers. And the second objective is objective 4. It was strengthening social capital, especially point 4.6, supporting bottom-up initiatives and improving management efficiency. And activities was supporting supralocal network initiatives that simulate economic development and strengthen the identity of local communities, and promoting greater involvement of private funds in major development projects, including in the public-private partnership formula. How we plan effects of this action? Effects will be two-way. One way will be towards lower level local government units, and the second one was higher level ones, interregional and maybe national agreements. Why it will be towards lower level local units? It will creating a development strategy for lower level self-governments should be consistent with the development direction of the entire region. Next point is lower level administration creating its own strategic documents is based on the voivode strategy. The guidelines resulting, for example, from good practices formulated in Agrores will be moved to a lower level. And the development strategy is a document that financial institutions refer to when making decisions financed from public funds. Why our action will go to the higher level units? The long-term development paths of the country take into account the specificity of the regions based on regional strategic documents like development strategy for our voivodeship. Other voivodeships can draw inspiration from the concepts indicated in this our strategy. This applies especially to regions of a similar nature, agriculture with a higher renewable energy sources potential. The second action we have in our action plan is establishment of a consultation point as a result of our Agrores project. Establishing a consultation point will be important factor in the consolidating and disseminating knowledge developed under the project. This consultation point will not refer to a physical place of functioning, but we saw it like a performance of our activity. It will be a team, people team of competent employees of the Marshal Office in Lublin, and there is no energy agency operating in the Lubelski Voivodeship, so this consultation point will allow for information activities of the region. This consultation point, what we plan build it. First step, it will be designation of the departments involved, and next, delegating employees to service the consultation point, employee training, and provisions of technical facilities. What will this consultation point doing? Publishing information of the website, training lectures, meetings with citizens, cooperation with universities. I'm from University of Life Science too, and assistance and in submitting applications for finding renewable energy sources and other activities if they need. Effects of Action 2 is increasing, will be, I think, I hope, increasing the environmental awareness of residents, including resource saving and energy, and the idea of circular economy, educational information and promotional activities aimed at increasing the ecological awareness of the society, and advising of energy efficiency and renewable energy sources for enterprises, the municipal sector, local government units, housing construction, and natural persons. More of details about our action plan is in this document. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Please mark down your questions and leave them for later. So I invite now somebody from the Devon County Council, and I ask somebody from the Regional Council of North Karelia to get ready for the next.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. Thank you for hosting us. It's lovely to be here. If we go to the... So my name's Alistair Mumford from Devon County Council. So we're a regional authority within the UK. Obviously, our action plan is related around the increasing the use of renewable energy in the agricultural sector, but specifically through the use of community ownership and new business models. The Committee on Climate Change, which is an advisor to UK government, sometimes UK government listens to them, sometimes they don't, have said that for us to achieve our carbon reduction targets, we need a quadrupling of, so it's a 400% increase in renewables within the UK. So we need to find ways to deliver more. For a county council, we don't really have much money. It was just on the news I was listening to this morning that the councils were saying that there are services that are going to have to be cut. So how do we do it? We need to try and leverage more funding from other parties. And we've had some research done that's determined that there are substantial added benefits, socio-economic benefits to the region through having local community ownership. So that's sort of led us to the path that we need to get that external money, and it needs to come from the community. So there's two initiatives that we are looking to do. One is called a very boring name, the Synthetic Power Purchase Agreement. It doesn't really say anything about what it does, but that supposedly is the term for it. Essentially, it is a financial arrangement. So it's a bit different to what we're doing in the bottom there, but it's a financial arrangement that enables a developer of renewables to go away and get finance because they know they've got a backer. They've got a financial backer that is going to guarantee the income that they're going to have for that deployment. And so it can really help to, again, leverage things. Now, the backer, the financial supporter, is the county council and other public sector organisations. So we're looking, and the generator is local community energy organisations, or one organisation that's working on behalf of a number of local community energy organisations. One of the important things about the Synthetic Power Purchase Agreement is essentially for Devon County Council, we don't have to put up loads of money at the beginning. There is a long-term arrangement, and so money needs to be allocated. But the other one is that we can enter into the agreement. We don't have to procure somebody. And under our current regulations, which are pretty much EU procurement regulations, we can't do that. We can't say we want a Devon developer, and we can't say we want a Devon community-owned developer. So it helps us to effectively get around that, whilst also showing value for money. The bottom one, community-owned PV and storage. So this is a more traditional arrangement where you have a renewable energy installation that sells electricity to the building or the farmer in this instance, and yes, and that would be for a number of years. So because of that contractual arrangement, again, the community energy organisation can look to draw down finance. The interesting element for us will be that we hope to try and combine that PV with storage. We have a number of farms on our estate. Most of those are dairy farms. We do get sunshine, not as good as here, but of course the dairy farms are generally milking in the morning and in the evening when the sun isn't shining. So we need to have some way of moving that energy across. And we're hoping that storage will be the answer to that. The economics on storage aren't great, but we hope to wait and see. So the context for it is that our main one is that we have a Devon carbon plan. So that is a plan to reduce the carbon emissions for Devon County Council, and we are aiming to be net zero by 2030. The net zero is the important bit there. So we are looking to have carbon reduction of at least 70%, and that's from all operations and the supply chain, and offsetting of no more than 30%. Now, the offsetting is the interesting one, I suppose, of those two. Not to say that getting reductions is not important, but it's the cost of offsetting, which is going to go up and up and up at the moment. And services like the installation of renewables may well become the most cost-effective way of delivering that carbon offsetting when you compare it to tree planting or something like that. So that's our target, that's where we want to get to, and we want to try and get the renewables to help us to deliver that objective. So in terms of our learnings here, it was great to be over in Ireland. It seems a long time ago now, but hearing about the community-backed, the government-backed support for community energy sector there, Devon County Council, well, we don't have government support mechanisms for community energy. Devon County Council has done some in the past, but we don't really have the funding to do further, so it feels we need to move from support to having these financial arrangements with them. Also in Finland, it was great to see a heat network being put in that's community owned. There's a large infrastructure being done through community ownership, which is just absolutely great, and I wish we had more of that in the UK. I think one of the other things that we picked up as well was some research that was done on Ireland, for me personally anyway, which was around looking at the consumption curves for dairy farms and also the generation curves for solar. And that gave us the impetus to get some research done on our own farms, and they're pretty much comparable, but now we've got that data to help us to build business cases. So in terms of getting things done, well, hopefully, we need to update the business plan for the synthetic power purchase agreement. Obviously, energy prices have gone through the roof, and so things have changed there. We've also got to do better to be able to get over the fact that the community energy sector can actually deliver this level. We're talking, for us, we're talking, for Devon County Council, we're talking about 20 megawatts. But for public sector in Devon, it's 100 megawatts, and we need to have a look into what scale is achievable and be able to get a robust case that the community energy sector can do that, because a lot of people are concerned that they might not. We also need to build that partnership. Devon, as I say, can probably agree, well, hopefully will agree to 20 megawatts. We need to get to 100 megawatts, so we need the other public sector organisations as well. That also potentially de-risks it a little bit for Devon County Council as well, which would help my colleagues to be happy with the idea. And then we need to get to that offtake in principle agreement. So with that, the community energy organisations can then go away and find sites. So an important part of this is that the sites need to be additional. These need to be new sites. If they're not new, we can't claim the carbon that comes from those sites. So it's a critical factor in there. It's a little bit of a grey area, whether they're new or not, but anyway, you need to be able to make some kind of an argument for that. And then we need to, hopefully, once we've got that, we'll be able to work with the community energy organisation to get those sites developed. Whether that's by July 2023, I don't know. It's very difficult to get large-scale renewables deployed, so we have major issues with the grid in Devon and getting a connection to the power network, and that is a big challenge at the moment. And then for the other one, we're looking to the community-owned PV and storage, so we're doing a site review. We'll probably start with the easy wins, so those would be farms that have diversified, so they've got more of a level energy consumption over the day. But we would also like to get the dairy farms worked on as well. We then need to develop a business plan for that, to look at the legal arrangement. There'll be leases, there'll be power purchase agreements that will need to be put in place. And again, look to get a principle and agreement so that we can start to get these sites deployed. We know the farmers are desperate for it. Obviously, their energy costs are going very high. And some of our farms have diversified, as those that came to Devon will see, and have got catering facilities and so forth. So I think they're me. But yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for this additional presentation. I will ask now the speaker from Regional Council of North Karelia to come over. Thank you very much.
Yes, so I'm Tanja Kähkönen from the Regional Council of North Karelia, and we have one action for our action plan. The action is called Improved Governance of Funding on Renewable Energy Projects in the Field of Renewable Energy in Agriculture and Rural Areas, in line with our revised and updated climate and energy program and its implementation plan. The background to this action comes from the Agrores project, and from the need to update our climate and energy program, which was first published in 2012, so it was quite outdated by this time. So when the operating environment has changed significantly since its publication, there was a need to update this program. And the inspiration for this action has been drawn from learning from Agrores partners, policy instruments, particularly from the Irish and British instruments. Learning on the good practices has taken place, for instance, on community energy from the Devon County Council, and also during study visits in Ireland. And the lessons of the Agrores project have assisted in, for instance, brainstorming and developing activities for the action bank on the implementation plan of climate and energy program. And the action description, there has been intensive collaboration with the stakeholder groups, and Agrores project has cooperated with the regional council staff who has been active in renewing process of this program, and sought collaboration opportunities for information sharing also from the Agrores project. And there has been continuous discussion taking place, and there has been a study done during the project on the state of renewable energy and future use potential in North Karelia. And these study results have been shared with the regional council staff and stakeholders active in the renewal process of this climate and energy program in North Karelia. And this action supports achieving the first goal and third goal of the renewed climate and energy program in our region. And the first goal is North Karelia is a vital region where population is full of well-being, and the second goal is energy is low emission and is based on the region's own energy production from local energy sources. So two sides, very sustainable approach on this. So we want to use our local resources but also improve the well-being in the region. And this action will support in reaching the first goal's action on advancing production of decentralized and renewable energy and business opportunities related to them. And in the third goal, this action will advance, for instance, supporting decentralized energy units with hybrid energy solutions, and supporting biogas investments and processing of biogas to transportation fuels. And there are already few examples existing of these aims and implemented by the stakeholders, funded from the previous programming period. There is a project Black Green, North Karelia Biochar program, communicating energy on new energy transition and low carbon digital services in North Karelia. And then there is also a biogas project. And the new project guided by the new energy program, climate and energy program, will be funded from the new programming period. And the first steps of the renewed climate and energy program, setting baseline statistical indicators for monitoring the program, preparing implementation plan for the program, and implementing the first tier actions defined in the implementation plan. And the milestones for implementation of this action include launching the first call of the new ERDF program, and this has already taken place in May, and at the moment the evaluation of the proposals is taking place. And then there will be decisions on the projects to be funded, and then there will be analysis stage where the stakeholders will be also included. And then we will go to the second application round and its follow-up. So there will be recommendations from this previous application round, and they will be taken into consideration when designing the second call, and it will be analyzed what kind of projects, what quantified the projects and how to improve the next application round. And the players and stakeholders involved have been all regional, steering group from municipalities, regional actors, Agrores stakeholder group has been also active in communicating their visions, needs and goals. And here again the time frame. So first call, then evaluation, decisions, analysis, and second call. And the costs are covered by the regional council's own resources and funding sources, mainly ERDF funding. And the main outputs are renewable energy projects funded from the main structural funding programs. And there will be indicators also that we will follow up the success of this action plan. And at the end, I would like to say also that the other impacts of the Agrores project has been very important. Besides helping us to build the action plan, we have established connections that may bring something good also in future when we want to plan new projects in renewable energy activities, for instance, in the energy security sector. Thank you. And any questions later.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will ask now the speaker from the Bucharest Ilfov Regional Development Agency to come over. Sorry.
It's okay, it's okay.
You can go.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Stelian Cârnaț. I'm the project manager on behalf of Bucharest Ilfov Region Development Agency, and I will present our regional action plan. Just to remember some things about the policy context, we initially targeted the regional operational program investment in growth and jobs 2014-2020. Due to the time frame of the program, this was not feasible because the program is at its end period and concrete changes couldn't be obtained. So we focused on changing the policy instrument to the next programming period 2021-2027, which we envisaged to influence through our action plan. So the new policy instrument, so for this policy instrument, according to Emergency Government Ordinance, our organization is the managing authority for the policy instrument 2021-2027 in relation with Bucharest Ilfov region. And also our organization is the main body responsible for the development of the risk strategy, which establishes among the fields of specialization, the food industry and food safety as a priority and to be financed through our policy instrument. So the policy instrument, in the policy instrument we have the first investment priority, a competitive region through innovation, digitalization and dynamic enterprises. We have the third strategic development objective, strengthen the resilience and competitiveness of SMEs, with action for supporting SMEs for the implementation of technological transfer. We have funds allocated to implement the results of research in areas of regional smart specialization in SMEs through technology transfer and the implementation of innovative solutions. Regarding background and lesson learned, due to our involvement in Agrores project, the project thematic, production and usage of renewable sources in the agricultural sector, was non-existing non-existent in our region, so we started from scratch, as evidenced by the regional self-assessment conclusions. Another conclusion of the regional self-assessment is that we have a high potential to produce energy from renewable sources in our region: wind, photovoltaic, biomass, and geothermal. But the low level of awareness, knowledge, and information among farmers regarding the benefits of producing and using this type of clean energy, coupled with volatility of income and the lack of financial incentives to provide investment, determines the poor development of this sector. Although there are in the new policy instrument non-reimbursable funding for the development of renewable energy generation facilities, most stakeholders do not understand the methodology and what steps need to be taken to benefit from these funds. So, in this context, described led to the conclusion that a precisely directed intervention targeting preparatory activities is the best way to enhance the policy instrument. The Bucharest Action Plan includes a single action with the main goal to promote the production and usage of renewable energies in the agricultural sector by emphasizing the economic and environmental advantages, and moreover by supporting farmers to access funds to shift towards green energy. The proposed action refers to the development of support services to facilitate accessing of regional operational program funds. So the name of the action is establishment of RES, Regional Support Services. It's about technical and financial assessment to increase the use of renewable energy in agricultural sectors through the specific grant from our policy instrument by developing and implementing new projects. The action plan will improve the policy instruments through a type 2 change. There will be a change in the management of the policy instrument by the creation of a new supporting scheme to provide technical and financial advice for implementing new RES projects. Regional support services, as a part of our action, should support farmers and key players in the agricultural sector to smooth the path and to gain knowledge to access financing through new projects in the frame of Regional Operational Program 2021-2027 in order to implement and develop innovative solutions in their own businesses. The same services will provide to key local actors practical information on most relevant financing sources and innovation in the field, with their positive effects on the profitability of the organization, but also on the environment. We'll provide guidance and support to farmers regarding the steps required by the entire process of installation and operation of the facilities, but we'll also provide information on accessing European funds to support these investments. Moreover, we want to create a toolkit guide that will be developed to strengthen the support services provided by disseminating successful examples in order to demonstrate the effectiveness of the RES facilities and to convince potential users to shift towards a more environmental friendly mindset and consequently to make investments in this direction. The toolkit guide will structure the information from identifying problems, lack of energy for irrigation, high cost of operational processes carried out on farms or in production capacities, to the presentation of new technologies and innovations adopted by other EU regions, but will also make known the regional potential for production and use of renewable energy. The successful implementation of the Green Action Plan will allow to the parties involved to access ROP financing to present strong project proposals to be financed, and therefore the policy instrument in hand will be directly influenced. The regional services shall be both electronic and in person for guidance in the development of these project proposals. We envisage having between 5 and 10 projects proposals submitted on the first call as a result, and some stakeholders that were involved since the beginning of the project, the National Institute of Research and Development for Machines and Installations Designed for Agriculture and Food Industry, Ilfov County Council being responsible by territorial administrative unit of the Ilfov County, the major part of the region and the major part of the agricultural land. Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development manages most of the European funds available for agricultural and rural development, and the University of Agronomic Sciences and the Eco Hornet, an SMEs, which will bring us information for guide development. That's all for my side. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I now shift on this side and pass the word to Dina, that will present the action plan from Arcial.
Okay. Arcial action plan consists of one action. The action aims to support the establishment of new energy communities through an help desk set up to provide technical, financial, and administrative assistance services to rural communities in Lazio region. Arcial so can be the ideal facilitator for the use of policy instrument for the creation of energy communities. This action plan may have impacts on 3 policy instruments: the ERDF, the Recovery Plan, and the Regional Lazio Law Number 1, 2020, establishing the energy communities in our region. As a matter of fact, all these three policy instruments have among their aims the promotion of energy communities, although with different characteristics. However, we will focus on the policy instrument that seems closest to support rural communities. That is Regional Law Number 1, 2020, together with the Regional Law 14, 2021, a budget amendment, which established the incentive for them, about 2 million euros. In addition to Arcia, sorry. Oh no, okay. You did, okay. In addition to Arcial, the action will be implemented thanks to the cooperation of different structures of the Lazio region. Of course, as Arcial works closely with the agricultural department, the structures which belong to this department have an important related competence, which are providing for the implementation of agri-environmental policies and renewable energy in the agriculture sector. In this regard, I would like to thank our colleague Domenico Bertolucci and Renato Andreotti, who helped us collecting data for our self-assessment documents and participated in some other Agrores local meeting we had. But the regional structure that will be most involved in the impact this action will have at regional level is the Infrastructure and Mobility Directorate, and in particular the Energy Sustainability Area. In this regard, I want to thank our colleague Silvio Cicchelli, who helped us defining our action plan, and his director, Stefano Fermante, who is going to sign it, together with our president, Mario Ciarla. I would also like to thank Sandro Calmanti, who is here with us, of the Ecological Transition Department, for his help. We share the plan, and we are sure we will collaborate in implementing it. The action plan consists of 3 sub-actions. 1, digital implementation of an help desk containing separate section, administrative, technical, financial. 2. Identification and designation of a pool of experts able to respond to the needs of the constituent energy communities through the Agrores help desk. 3. Information and meetings in present or through webinars to make known the new form of support represented by the Agrores help desk. The result we want to achieve are important for us. These are the indicators. The number of stakeholders involved, minimum 300. The number of support requests received at the help desk, minimum 30. The number of proposals we will make to the regional administration to adjust the policy instrument, minimum 3. The good practice of the Agrores partner that inspired us were Community-Owned Energy, Devon County Council, and Better Energy Communities of Sligo, Department of Communication, Climate Action and Environment, Sustainable Energy Authority of Ireland. But I would like to take this opportunity to thank all the project partners. We had very interesting experience, very nice moment, but also very difficult ones. I remember that when Agrores more or less started, the project started, COVID arrived shortly afterwards. So there were difficult moments. And for this, I want to thank Javier, who is our very efficient and patient coordinator. So the main stakeholders involved. Our stakeholders are participants in bodies, associations, contracts, where public and private collaborate for the development of the territory, such as those you can see in the slide, you can read on the slide. But we refer mainly to the biodistrict. Lazio Regional Law number 11/2019 defines biodistricts as having among their aims to apply the concept of economic, environmental and energy eco-sustainability to the supply chain with a view to the rational use of energy and renewable energy sources. So there will be our main stakeholders. And now is the end of my presentation. I want to thank two other colleagues of mine, Maurizio Paffetti, who's here with us, and Carmela Di Giorgio. Maurizio Paffetti is an Arsia colleague. Carmela Di Giorgio is a regional manager, who were the promoters of Arsia participation in the project and always follow and help us. Also, our general manager, Fabio Genchi, who has always supported us, and all the Arsial working group, and for all I thanks Paolo Collepardi. Thank you for your attention, and now is the time of Sligo.
I don't know what is more poisonous, is COVID or this?
Hello, so my name is Mel Gavin. I'm with the Atlantic Technological University, ATU of Sligo. I'm joined by my colleague Leo from ATU Sligo as well, and our stakeholder Sean, who's with the Sustainable Energy Authority of Ireland, who you've just seen referred to. They're the state agency that promote energy efficiency and renewable energy across all sectors in Ireland, including the community energy supports. And we're joined by our partners, Noel and Dennis from the Northern and Western Regional Assembly. They're the regional authority that we're working with on this. They're the policy instrument owners, and we've been providing the technical input to the Agrores project. So in phase one of Agrores, which we're now bringing to a close, we would have worked to identify a number of good practices and shared those across the partners. So there was quite a lot of knowledge exchange over the period, over the 6 semesters. Many of the good practices that we had seen both in Ireland and in our partner regions involved the support of an energy agency such as Aginex, or in Ireland Tipperary Energy Agency, and some other agencies that we'd seen, or at least an independent local advisory service. And we've seen that reflected in a lot of the action plans here. So some of the other good practices that we are taking to design our action plan are those that focused on specific sectors or specific technologies. So in North Karelia there had been the guides on biomass tech aimed at biomass technology. In Lubelski there was a targeted advisory service as well, and then in Bucharest there was a prosumer's guide developed specifically to help homeowners and small businesses with I think solar PV at the time. In our regional self-assessment we identified a number of barriers in Ireland. Obviously we have a lot of smaller farms and they tend to lack technical capacity. They tend to lack financial capacity as well, but we also did not have in our region that independent advisory service or energy agency available to them. Our support mechanisms in Ireland are improving all the time, and they've been evolving a great deal over the last 3 years, but they still come with a lot of bureaucracy. So they need somebody who wants to access those would need a lot of technical advice, a lot of financial advice to navigate those. In addition, in our regional self-assessment, although we did identify some good practices in the region, there wasn't a huge amount of data to understand the percentage of farmers or rural communities involved in either energy efficiency or renewable energy. So our action plan design then focuses on the development of independent advisory services, and also because of the policy instrument that we're working with is going to be a live document. We want to improve the monitoring and recording of renewable energy uptake so that it can inform the planned updates of that policy instrument. The policy instrument we're focusing on is the Regional, Spatial and Economic Strategy, which has been written by the Northern Western Regional Assembly. We had initially looked at the Regional Operational Programme, but similarly to some of the others, that policy instrument has closed in the lifetime of the project, and the newer one is still being drafted. So the Regional, Spatial and Economic Strategy is still part of the National Planning Framework, and it's linked to the other policy instruments. So as I was saying, it's intended to be a live document, not written once and left there for a number of years. It will be updated periodically. So this first action focuses on improving the monitoring and informing of that policy instrument. So we will be establishing a new technical advisory service for the implementation of renewable energy in the agricultural sector. That's going to be through an existing farm advisory service that currently just focuses on farm practices. So within this new service, we're going to be compiling some information on particular technical, administrative and financial assessments. We will deploy that new technical advisory service through the farm advisors and monitor the implementation of new projects in the agri sector. So we will have a number of periodic meetings with the managing authority to report on those results and develop proposals to amend the policy instrument based on the monitoring that comes back. So that's the timeline we can see there leading up to the end of phase 2, where we'd be expecting the first revision or amendment of the policy instrument, or at least would be informing it at that stage. This is just some material that has already been developed in phase 1, where we've developed some training tools for farm advisors to keep them informed on some specific technologies that have the most short-term potential in our region for farms. The ones you can see there are related to biomass for our poultry farms. The majority of poultry farms in Ireland are actually in our region, and there's a huge opportunity for transitioning away from LPG and oil heating systems to a biomass heating system. The second action is to establish a new energy agency service in the Northwest region. As we've seen already, the lack of an energy agency in a region is a challenge. So it's something we've been trying to work on for years. So within this action, we will be updating a comprehensive business plan for a new energy agency. Trying to identify the best options for the structure and scale of that agency, and then working with local supply chains and national funding bodies, including SEAI, but also including the Department of Environment and Climate Change. And we will be preparing a proposal for the Northern Western Regional Assembly, but we will aim to establish an energy agency for the region by the end of phase 2. So it's quite ambitious, but in relation to this this action, we've had some success since the action plan was validated. Earlier on this year, with a number of partners in the region, we applied to the EU Life Fund to get some budget to staff local energy agencies for these peripheral regions. So we're now into a grant agreement phase on that, so that will help us realise this action within the time frame of phase 2. The structure of the energy agency is very similar to the ones you would have seen, very similar to some of the successful ones that exist in Ireland but outside of our region. It's to perform functions by engaging the market, engaging the homeowners, the communities, the enterprises, including the farming sectors, help develop capacity and skills in the supply chain, and that's a big challenge in Ireland. I'm sure it's a challenge elsewhere, in that we simply don't have enough solar installers, we don't have enough retrofit contractors, we don't have enough professionals in energy auditing. So we will be working with the third level sector in particular around that. And then in any project, obviously funding is very important. So the agency needs to be very aware of and very able to navigate funding like SEI funding, like LEADER funding and EU funding. Aside from grants, and another big part of that picture is finance, and that's something that is emerging in Ireland now, is better finance options for loans for energy projects, but we need to be able to work with those finance providers for these projects, and then working on delivery. So within the plan for our energy agency is to create frameworks for project development, and then another framework for project delivery, so that would be contractors and installers. That's it. Thank you very much.
Pronto? Sì, ok. Now, before, as I said our main stakeholders, the biodistrict, I would like to thank the GSA that give us a contribution by this video of Giancarlo Salamone.
Buongiorno a tutti, sono molto lieto di partecipare, seppur a distanza, alla riunione internazionale del progetto Agrores. Questo progetto che ha come obiettivo principale la promozione della produzione e l'uso di energie rinnovabili nel settore agricolo e rurale. Ecco, sicuramente è degno di plauso il ruolo dell'Arsial all'interno del progetto, con il suo piano di intervento che spazia dal ruolo di facilitatore al ruolo di aggregatore. Parlare in questo momento particolare di produzione e uso di energie rinnovabili vuol dire parlare a livello diffuso di comunità di energie rinnovabili. Il gestore dei servizi energetici, tra i vari ruoli, ovviamente ha quello di gestire il meccanismo di incentivazione e di valorizzazione dell'energia elettrica condivisa, ma anche il ruolo di promuovere la correlazione a livello nazionale di comunità energetiche. Nel caso specifico, quindi, aiutandomi con delle slide, oggi ho intenzione di rappresentare un po' quello che è il ruolo, l'approccio che la pubblica amministrazione può avere rispetto ovviamente all'autoconsumo collettivo. Di conseguenza l'autoconsumo e le CER, come approcciare la sfida per gli enti locali. Questo intervento in realtà ha come obiettivo quello di rappresentare quelli che sono i benefici da una parte dell'autoconsumo collettivo e il ruolo che gli enti locali, gli enti territoriali in genere possono avere all'interno delle comunità di energie rinnovabili. Dopodiché passeremo ad un esempio applicativo di quello che è il ruolo del comune all'interno ovviamente di una configurazione in autoconsumo collettivo. Cosa rappresenta allo stato attuale una comunità di energie rinnovabili? È un'opportunità per la sostenibilità della comunità. La comunità energetica in sé per sé ha come obiettivo quello di fornire benefici economici, ambientali e sociali a livello di comunità piuttosto che finanziari. Quindi nell'ambito di una comunità locale ovviamente i clienti finali e i produttori possono in questo momento unirsi per produrre e condividere energia elettrica da fonti rinnovabili. Esistono due possibili configurazioni allo stato attuale, vedremo poi successivamente in realtà quanto queste configurazioni avranno una piccola modifica piccola fino a un certo punto ovviamente, rispetto ovviamente a quelle che sono i vari attori che potranno prendere parte ovviamente alle configurazioni, piuttosto ovviamente che agli impianti. Allo stato attuale abbiamo detto esistono le comunità di energie rinnovabili che hanno come perimetro la cabina elettrica secondaria e il gruppo di autoconsumatori che hanno invece come perimetro il condominio o comunque gli edifici in sé per sé. Sono delle configurazioni, da una parte un soggetto giuridico, dall'altro un insieme, che hanno come caratteristica fondamentale quella di produrre e di autoconsumare, seppur virtualmente, l'energia elettrica prodotta da impianti da fonti energetiche rinnovabili, che allo stato attuale sono di 200 kW per il singolo impianto. Il perimetro per quanto riguarda le comunità di energie rinnovabili sono i pod ovviamente di prelievo ed immissioni sottesi alla medesima rete di bassa tensione, mentre per quanto riguarda i gruppi di autoconsumatori il perimetro invece è l'edificio. E i benefici quali sono? I benefici, i contributi previsti fondamentalmente per quanto riguarda le comunità di energie rinnovabili sono 110 euro megawattora più un rimborso ovviamente tariffario per ogni megawattora di energia condivisa, piuttosto ovviamente che la remunerazione dell'energia elettrica immessa in rete. Per quanto riguarda invece i contributi previsti per i gruppi di autoconsumatori, sono definiti all'interno dell'incentivo, che ovviamente è pari a 100 euro megawattora, più un rimborso tariffario, più la restituzione delle perdite di rete e ovviamente anche in questo caso la remunerazione dell'energia elettrica immessa in rete. Ovviamente, come rappresentavo prima, ci saranno delle modifiche con i decreti attuativi del decreto legislativo 199 del 2021, che nel caso specifico andranno a fare delle modifiche relativamente al perimetro delle comunità energetiche, che passeranno dalla bassa tensione, scusate, alla media tensione, e ovviamente a quelli che sono la potenza dei singoli impianti, che passerà da 200 kW a 1 MW. L'energia condivisa nelle competenze di un ente locale, ecco, questo è un fattore importantissimo in realtà, lì dove si fa definire il ruolo di un ente locale all'interno ovviamente della creazione di una configurazione in autoconsumo collettivo. La condivisione dell'energia deve fornire benefici ambientali, economici e sociali a livello di comunità. E quindi cosa fanno queste comunità energetiche? Possono contribuire all'attuazione di diverse missioni degli enti locali, tra cui ovviamente quella del risparmio dell'energia da una parte, la valorizzazione delle fonti presenti sul territorio, la riduzione del carbon footprint dell'ambito territoriale dove viene realizzata la comunità energetica, piuttosto che il contributo fattuale al raggiungimento dei target di produzione da ferro a livello territoriale. Ovviamente parallelamente ci sono tutte quelle missioni che riguardano invece la lotta alla povertà energetica, piuttosto che la valorizzazione della vocazione economica di un territorio, quello che è il ripopolamento, o meglio la promozione del ripopolamento di ambiti territoriali oggetto di abbandono, piuttosto che la diffusione della cultura ovviamente della sostenibilità. Allo stato attuale abbiamo in realtà rappresentato all'interno di questa slide quello che può essere il ruolo di un comune all'interno della promozione di una comunità energetica. Può avere appunto un ruolo di promotore piuttosto che membro di una comunità energetica, piuttosto appunto che come ultima istanza quella di mettere a disposizione i propri asset senza essere membro invece della comunità stessa. Quindi è il comune promotore della condivisione, ha un ruolo fondamentale evidenziando ovviamente le opportunità a partire dalla conoscenza delle risorse del proprio territorio e sfruttando il proprio ruolo nei confronti del distributore di rete locale. Lo fa inserendo la lotta ai cambiamenti climatici e la condivisione dell'energia nei propri strumenti di programmazione, rimuovendo ovviamente gli eventuali ostacoli in realtà alla realizzazione di impianti sul proprio territorio e promuovendo ovviamente campagne informative verso i cittadini rispetto a quelle che sono le opportunità derivanti dalla configurazione in autoconsumo collettivo. Ovviamente ha anche un ruolo di stimolo, perché? Perché in realtà nel promuovere una configurazione cosa fa in prima persona? Aggrega le necessità del contesto, le richieste dei vari attori, i ruoli e le professionalità, mette a disposizione gli impianti di produzione, propone e promuove l'iniziativa sul territorio, ovviamente ha questo diciamo gravoso ruolo, quello di gestire la comunità energetica dal punto di vista tecnico e dal punto di vista amministrativo. Dopodiché c'è il ruolo in realtà del comune che aderisce semplicemente a una comunità energetica. Perché lo fa? In realtà lo fa per ottenere i benefici derivanti dal servizio di incentivazione e valorizzazione dell'energia elettrica condivisa, piuttosto ovviamente che rappresentare un i benefici a livello ambientale, economico e sociale nel territorio di competenza. Lo può fare attraverso, diciamo, immettendo all'interno della configurazione un pod in prelievo o in immissione, quindi o come consumatore o come produttore, o entrambe le cose, o come produttore e consumatore. In ultima istanza abbiamo il ruolo del Comune che mette a disposizione i propri asset. Perché? Perché in linea di principio il Comune può avere anche questa opportunità, quello di mettere a disposizione tetti piuttosto che impianti, favorendo ovviamente la gemmazione, la nascita di iniziative di autoconsumo collettivo all'interno del territorio che comunque amministra. Ecco, per concludere, in realtà vogliamo rappresentare quelli che sono gli attori coinvolti nel processo. Da una parte in realtà la Giunta e il Consiglio Comunale, piuttosto che una struttura amministrativa deputata alla governance ovviamente dell'iniziativa stessa, piuttosto che altre strutture organizzative coinvolte esterne come partner tecnici o quant'altro, ovviamente l'ufficio gare e il presidio contabilità. All'interno di questa slide, che è l'ultima che rappresentiamo, abbiamo voluto diciamo, racchiudere, riassumere quelli che sono i vari step che tutto sommato una pubblica amministrazione deve diciamo, portare avanti per promuovere la nascita di una configurazione in autoconsumo collettivo. Vediamo in linea di principio in realtà che ci sono molte azioni da fare, ed è questo diciamo, uno spunto che poi mi porterà a concludere rispetto al servizio di assistenza che è il gestore dei servizi energetici e la funzione di promozione e assistenza alla pubblica amministrazione, dove lavoro comunque comporta. Ecco, si parte quindi dalla pianificazione dell'iniziativa, magari raccogliendo ovviamente quelle che sono le varie iniziative presenti sul territorio, si passerà quindi alla programmazione, quindi attraverso la raccolta delle adesioni, e ovviamente alla fase di progettazione, una progettazione ovviamente che prenderà in considerazione la parte tecnica e la parte ovviamente amministrativo-giuridica della configurazione stessa, e quindi ovviamente si passerà dalla realizzazione e ovviamente alla gestione dell'iniziativa. L'iniziativa ovviamente nel essere gestita dovrà prendere in considerazione la gestione amministrativa della richiesta di accesso al servizio di incentivazione e valorizzazione dell'energia elettrica condivisa da una parte, e ovviamente tutta quella parte di mantenimento dei requisiti tali da poter rendere appunto l'iniziativa possibile sul territorio. Ecco, con questa slide vi saluto e vi auguro ovviamente buon proseguimento con questo, diciamo, questa raccomandazione, questo invito a quello di contattarci, in realtà contattare la funzione di promozione e assistenza alla pubblica amministrazione, che ha appunto il ruolo di assistere gli enti nel loro percorso verso l'efficienza. Grazie.
Okay, so we move on with some of the project stakeholders. I will invite now the president of the Biodistrict Etrusco Romano, Massimiliano Mattiuzzo, to come over. And I also invite his interpreter, Gioia Smargiassi, to join him. So this speech will be in Italian and there will be a translation to follow. I'll leave you my place.
Mi scuso, ma io appartengo alla generazione che quando studiava e girava il mondo era il francese la lingua della diplomazia, l'inglese è subentrato molto dopo rispetto alla mia età, che si evidenzia anche dai capelli. Scusate, il biodistretto etrusco romano è nato per volontà di un gruppo di agricoltori che operano e coltivano con il metodo biologico.
First of all, good morning, everybody. And I do apologize for not speaking English, but I belong to a generation where in Italy we used to study French. That was the language of diplomacy. So I'm very sorry for that. And so I have to speak in Italian, and I will translate for him. First of all, so the Etrusco Romano Biodistrict was created following the willingness of a group of farmers who were working using the organic and biologic methodologies.
La superficie totale del biodistretto è di circa 37.000 km², Circa l'80% della superficie è sottoposta ai vincoli ambientali di diversa natura, archeologici, paesaggistici. Fra i beni ambientali abbiamo la riserva naturale statale del litorale normanno con circa 18.000 ettari. Tranquillo.
The overall size of our biodistrict is 37,000 square kilometers, and around 80% of that surface is subject to some. That was a surprise.
12.
That was a big surprise. It's noon, we have the canoe up to the Gianicolo, so it's very close. That's the reason why they were warning you about the surprise. In this moment of history, I mean, hearing a cannon can be quite scary, so that was the big surprise for noon. So the overall surface of the biodistrict is 37,000 square kilometers, and around 80% of that is subject to some environmental, archaeological, and landscape limitations. And so among the main environmental assets, we have the natural state reserve of the Roman coast, the Litorale Romano, around 18,000 acres.
Mentre fra il patrimonio archeologico abbiamo il sito dell'UNESCO della Banditaccia che si trova in località Cervetri, mentre nel comune di Fiumicino, 2 soggetti soci del biodistretto, abbiamo i porti di Claudio e di Traiano, un porto particolare, esagonale, che ogni lato misura 320 metri, quanto oggi è una portaerei. Il territorio è disseminato di ville romane, siti etruschi minori, borghi medievali, basti pensare a Ceri e a Tragliata per noi che siamo del luogo, nonché tutte le torri costiere e i diversi castelli che sono prevalentemente, anzi esclusivamente privati.
So regarding the archaeological assets of our area, we do remind the famous Etruscan and UNESCO protected area called La Banditaccia, that is in Cerveteri. There are 2 ancient Roman ports of Claudius and Trajan that are in Fiumicino, close to the city of Rome, close to the airport. For you who lands here, it's very close to the Rome airport. And there is the Trajan port. It's a very special one because it has an hexagonal shape, and each side measures 320 meters. And then the territory is full of ancient Roman villas, some minor, so-called minor Etruscan archaeological sites, some Middle Age villages, such as Ceri and Tragliata, for those of us who are from this area, and a lot of coastal towers and castles dating back from different times of the past.
Il terreno pianeggiante che fa parte del biodistretto era praticamente una palude fino al fine del 1800 ed è stata bonificata tra la fine del 1800 e il 1930 ed ora è una realtà agricola molto importante con i suoi prodotti di tutte le stagioni dell'anno, mentre l'entroterra è collinare ed ospita antiche civiltà fra gli Etruschi e i Romani successivamente.
The plain landscape of our biodistrict was a marsh in the past. It was actually a marsh, and it was reclaimed starting from the end of the 19th century, and the reclamation ended around in 1930s. And so now it has become a very, very important, relevant agricultural production area. It's very fertile, so we have different products produced all year long in all seasons. And the part far from the coast is a hilly area, and we have ancient remains of the past civilizations, such as the Etruscan and the Romans.
praticamente non è soltanto un territorio agricolo, ma anche ricco di vecchie civiltà e di tanti elementi archeologici da visitare.
So we invite you to come to that area because not only you can have very, very good agricultural products and good food, but you can also enjoy some cultural aspects because we have a lot of very interesting archaeological and historical sites. So please come and visit the area.
Nel biodistretto insistono molte aziende agricole, fra l'altro abbiamo la più grande azienda agricola d'Italia che è la Maccarese, con i suoi circa ed oltre 3.500 ettari, abbiamo poi medie aziende e piccole aziende.
And so the territory is covered in small, medium and large farms. And we host the largest Italian, one of the largest Italian farms, that is the Maccarese farm, that has a size of around 3,500 hectares. And then we have also small and medium farms.
Le aziende che operano con il metodo biologico all'interno del tutto il biodistretto sono 50 ed operano su 4.700 ettari. I soci del biodistretto coltivano 3.400 ettari, quindi pari al 75%.
And so the organic farms of our biodistrict are around 50, and they operate on an area of 4,700 hectares. And the members of our biodistrict cultivate around 3,400 hectares, amounting to around 75% of the arable lands of the area. And the farms that are member of our district are average size farms.
Le aziende socie del biodistretto operano prevalentemente nel settore zootecnico, sulla viticoltura, vi è anche una cantina, l'orticoltura con oltre 80 ettari, fra l'altro è la fornitrice ufficiale delle mense scolastiche romane. Abbiamo anche come ultimo ingresso una piccola azienda a conduzione di giovani che praticamente produce la birra artigianale. Abbiamo anche aziende di trasformazione, quella di sughi, marmellate, nonché quella della carne e del latte. Il turismo ambientale ed enogastronomico è un'altra particolarità del nostro territorio, essendoci soci che hanno diversi agriturismi.
And so the farms that are member of our biodistrict operate mainly in the animal husbandry sector. In the vineyard sector, we have also one producing farm, vegetables, fruits and vegetable productions. We have so many suppliers, and in fact, all the food going into the school of Rome come from this area. So we produce a lot of food for the kids in school, in the Roman school. And then it is also very, very important because also the tourist and environmental and food tourism is very important in this area because we have good food, good produces, and among our members we have some of them who are the owners of the so-called agriturismo, places like bed and breakfast where you can enjoy and eat the local products that are organic.
Il biodistretto è nato 2 anni e mezzo or sono, in pieno Covid, ma nonostante ciò ci siamo impegnati in diversi progetti. I più significativi sono quelli di avviare una società per commercializzare unitariamente i prodotti, realizzare praticamente dei percorsi per incentivare il turismo enogastronomico e quello ambientale. In modo particolare siamo impegnati con altre 2 regioni per realizzare un cammino laico che unisca da Lumi, in Liguria, a Roma, passando per la Toscana e quindi l'Umbria, le vecchie città etrusche. Sarebbe il primo cammino in certo qual modo laico che fa rivivere la storia dell'Italia, la storia antica dell'Italia.
So our biodistrict is quite young. I mean, it was created 2.5 years ago during the COVID pandemic, so it was not a very easy or the best moment to start such an operation. But despite these difficulties, we have started and launched a lot of projects because really we wanted. And first of all, we started with a kind of a joint marketing activities for this project, and then one of the main goals is to create and to promote the food and wine and environmental tourism in the area. And we work in cooperation with 2 other regions. We would like to create the first non-religious path, Camino, from Liguria to Rome, crossing Liguria, Tuscany, and Umbria, that will pass through and will cross all the main ancient Etruscan Italian cities. So that would be the first non-religious path uniting and crossing different regions in Italy.
Attualmente siamo fortemente impegnati, e credo questo dovrebbe fare onore alla platea tutta, in modo particolare ritengo all'Arzial, essendo noi dei stakeholder, non so se si pronuncia così le cose, però prendetela così la cosa, siamo impegnati a costruire una o più comunità energetiche nel biodistretto che hanno il fulcro nelle aziende agricole, nell'utilizzare tutti i tetti ed ogni superficie che fa parte dell'azienda agricola. Ovviamente, come prima istanza, utilizzando i fondi del PNRR, è quello di dare attuazione, appena sarà operativo, al primo step, che è quello di rendere le aziende agricole autosufficienti sotto il profilo energetico. Noi nel biodistretto abbiamo 2 aziende che sono quasi autosufficienti sotto il profilo energetico.
And so nowadays we are strongly committed, and this also thanks to all of you, and in particular thanks to Arshel, to build one or more energy community within our bio district, and trying to, and the main focus, the starting point, the real heart of this energy community will be the farms in the territory, because we would like to invite them to use all the roofs and all the lands available, not arable lands, but all the other part of the surfaces, to implant, I mean, kind of renewable energy sources, renewable energy products. And we will use the funds of the NPPR to implement the first step, that is to create, to have farms that are energy self-sufficient. At the moment in our district we have 2 farms that are almost 100% self-sufficient in terms of energy, but we would like to turn this into a kind of common practice for all of our farms.
Noi ci auguriamo vivamente che l'Arzial continui, come è nella sua tradizione, di sostenere l'agricoltura, e in questa fase particolare di transizione ecologica, per salvare non soltanto la nostra terra, la madre terra, ma salvare anche l'umanità e traguardare il futuro con serenità, ma con tanto lavoro, come i nostri avi lo hanno fatto nel consegnarci questo bellissimo pianeta. Grazie.
And so I wish Arshel will continue, as it has been in its tradition, to support farmers and farming activity. And we, especially in such a period so difficult like this green transition period, not only for the sake and to save our planet, the Earth, but also for the sake and save mankind, with a lot of hard work, commitment, looking at the future, and trying to do what our ancestors have done with us. They have given us this wonderful planet, so we should try to protect it and to save it, to leave it to the next generations. Thank you so much. So maybe leaving the presentation of these wonderful biodistricts and the very tasty and healthy produces that they have to the end, closer to the lunch, wasn't the best idea, but I ask you to bear with us a little bit longer. We will have other two videos now introducing to the other two biodistricts. So the first one will be a presentation by Anna Cedrini, who is the president of the biodistrict of Maremma Etrusca and Monti della Tolfa. So I kindly ask the technicians. Thank you.
Il biodistretto Maremma Etrusca e Monti della Tolfa, in breve MET, si è costituito ad ottobre del 2021 dopo aver affrontato tutto l'iter autorizzativo per l'autorizzazione dalla Regione Lazio, che ha avuto inizio a febbraio del 2020 con la costituzione del comitato promotore. È composto da 4 comuni, Tarquinia, Tolfa, Allumiere e Monteromano, 3 università agrarie, Tarquinia, Tolfa e Allumiere, la Camera di Commercio di Viterbo, la CNA di Viterbo in Civitavecchia, l'Istituto Vincenzo Cardarelli di Tarquinia e circa 35 aziende in conduzione biologica. Il nostro è un territorio fortemente caratterizzato da una grande valenza di tipo agricolo, di tipo naturalistico e anche forse soprattutto di tipo storico. Non dimentichiamo che ci sono 3.000 anni di storia praticamente ininterrotta che ci caratterizzano. Qual è lo sforzo e il lavoro che stiamo cercando di fare come biodistretto? Con una buona sinergia tra pubblico e privato cerchiamo proprio di mettere a regime nel migliore dei modi questi punti di forza che ci caratterizzano, per dare una possibilità di sviluppo soprattutto in ambito turistico al territorio, ma anche per dare una nuova spinta e impulso alla parte agricola, con un obiettivo ambizioso ma sicuramente molto importante, che è quello di chiudere le filiere produttive all'interno del territorio del biodistretto stesso. Rispetto alle tematiche ambientali riferite alla produzione di energia elettrica, chiaramente stiamo affrontando anche questo. E come lo stiamo facendo? Abbiamo iniziato a somministrare dei questionari alle nostre aziende e facciamo anche proprio dei sopralluoghi in azienda e delle interviste attraverso l'aiuto di tecnici di zona e non, proprio per capire quali sono le intenzioni delle aziende, se hanno intenzione di fare degli investimenti, qual è il loro potenziale, quali sono le loro criticità, e questo dovrebbe aiutarci ad avere un quadro più completo per capire poi se effettivamente avremo la possibilità di dare vita a delle comunità energetiche funzionali. Quindi riteniamo a questo proposito che l'iniziativa messa in campo dall'Arsia di dare a supporto delle aziende un ufficio tecnico che le possa supportare in questo percorso e che possa supportare anche i tecnici dei vari biodistretti sia sicuramente un'iniziativa importante e lodevole, perché la tematica è molto attuale ma ancora molto da sviscerare e molto da comprendere in profondità, quindi ben venga un aiuto e un supporto che ci aiuti a prendere delle decisioni che rimangano comunque in linea con i nostri principi, che sono quelli di tutela e conservazione dell'ambiente, e che ci diano aiuto a creare la possibilità di produrre energia da fonti rinnovabili che mantengano il rispetto per il nostro ambiente.
can have the next video now from Andrea Ferrante from the biodistrict of the Via Marina e delle Forre.
I'm Andrea Ferrante of the Biodistretto della Via Marina e delle Forre in the northern part of the region of Lazio in province of Viterbo. 13 municipality, the Organic Farmers Association, civil society organization, all together in a foundation to develop, promote a sustainable approach to our territory. We started from organic farmers, from the organic farm, to bring sustainability in our territory, and now we are moving to energy. We want energy produced at local level, share with the local communities, and this is why we choose the way forward of the renewable energy community. The renewable energy community encompasses some principles that are typical of the Biodistretto. First of all, participation. The full participation of all the members of the community, because you need the participation of the producers, but indeed you need the participation of the consumers. Only in that moment, combining production and consumption at the same time, you have a propitious and efficient renewable energy community. Second, we have autonomy of all the community in terms of autonomy for the energy, but we have autonomy starting from the farmers also in the energy approach. We cannot continue to have agriculture that is totally depending from oil, and this is why we need to push a lot farmers to use more and more renewable energy. But this use of renewable energy is good for the farmers, but it's good for all the community, and they can share the surplus of the production with the rest of the community. And this is why we choose again renewable energy community. This is why Biodistretto is supporting all kind of process of participation. And this process of participation through the renewable energy community are an effective way to answer to our demand to relocalize the energy system, giving a new role for the consumers and at the same time a new role that we can call it prosumers, producers and consumers at the same time. Renewable energy community are the way forward for us, and this is why the Biodistretto will aggregate all these different associations and coordinate all these different associations to make the Biodistretto a place, an area where renewable energy will be central for a sustainable development of the communities. Thank you.
Okay, and now we move to the last, almost very last part of our meeting. I will pass the word to Matteo Zocchi from Fondazione Ecosistemi, who will give us an overview of the self-assessments that were produced by each partner regarding the state of the art of the renewables in the region.
Thanks Sabina, thanks Dina. Hello everyone. It was very interesting to listen to you. It is a pleasure to find all the countries with which we met 2 years ago in Extremadura, and it is nice to know how many steps have been taken by each of you, each country. We have read your self-assessment with great interest, and we found many interesting things. So thank you. The self-assessment report is the result of an analysis carried out by each partner. The general purpose of the report was to provide a self-assessment of the situation in the region with regards to investments and the use of renewables energy in agriculture and rural communities, as well as to better understand the current situation by reflecting on its potential for short, mid, and long-term development. The report aimed to provide information on future opportunities and challenges in the development and diffusion of renewable energy in agriculture. To facilitate the drafting of the report, Arcial developed guidelines that all partners countries follow it to draw an accurate picture of their situation. Thanks to the collaboration with stakeholders, research bodies, institutions, companies, all countries were able to draw up the entire document. It was an opportunity to organize meetings, foster discussion, and share best practices, as well as to make the report as complete as possible. Each of the partners has entered at least 15-20 declination of strengths, opportunities, risks, and threats. We have selected and highlighted the most recurring ones by grouping risk and threats and opportunities and strengths. So about the risk and threats, we have in almost all countries lack of clear and specific policies, confused regulations, weakness and scarcity of incentives and funding, resistance to change among agricultural operators. We would like to mention North Karelia. Where is North Karelia? Se n'è andata North Karelia, okay. Però we love it when they talk about we have to change the general mindset toward more positive in terms of renewable energy investments, pushback from parties involved in fossil fuels, opposition from local communities, economic weakness of the agricultural sector, and unwillingness to invest. It does not seem like a particular threat to be still in a pandemic and post-pandemic period. Only 1/3 of countries mentioned COVID-19 among the threats. About the opportunities and strengths, we have in almost all countries job creation and employment opportunities, Green Deal and new incentives, verified experience in the design and management of the incentives, best practice, agricultural diversification, multifunctionality of companies, attention to the sustainability of investments, high potential for development from renewable energy sources. So from this picture, it appears that in all countries there is an enormous potential for renewables that must be taken care of by all of us try to get out. We must create each in his or her role the systemic condition favorable to development. So by the end of the month, we will send the final report complete with graphic illustration with your SWOT analysis. We are trying to make an overall representation of the results by grouping each common answers. So thank you and see you soon.
Thank you very much, Matteo. And now I invite Sandro Calmanti, who will read us a message from Roberta Lombardi, who is the Counselor for Ecological Transition and Digital Transformation.
Thank you, and thank you very much for giving me the last spot before lunch. It's always the most difficult one. Hope you don't hate me by the end of this. So I have this short message from our counselor, and I have to say before that it was very interesting for me to participate to this meeting today. I've taken some notes and I've integrated the message of the counselor with some notes, because I think the work that I've seen, it matches very well with the work that we are doing. So this is what our Counselor Roberta Lombardi wanted to bring to this table, to this meeting today. Dear partners of the Agrores project, I would like to thank you for inviting me at your final international meeting, and I'm sorry I can't be there with you at the Botanical Garden of Rome, but I'm glad for this opportunity to share some of the key achievements during this last year of work at our office, and to show how it interacts well with the objective of the project Agrores. I would like to focus on three achievements in particular which is one, the updating of the regional energy plan. Second, the preparation of the guidelines for the identification of non-suitable areas for renewable energy in the region. And third, the support to the creation of energy communities, which is the main focus of the action plan for Lazio. Concerning the regional energy plan and the update, it is quite obvious that for Lazio, if we want to embark in the endeavor of eliminating fossil fuels from our energy basket, we need to rely essentially on photovoltaics. While working on the updating of the energy plan, we realized soon that the older approach of considering essentially rooftops as the only surface available to capture solar radiation is not sufficient at all. For the region, we need a total surface of no less than 12,000 hectares of photovoltaic panels, which is an ambitious program and an ambitious program of energy saving and efficiency if we want to secure local energy supply based on renewables. Therefore, the interaction and integration of energy production with agricultural activities is central. Indeed, some of you might be, especially those from who work and live in Lazio, are very well aware of the fact that we are already experiencing an incredible pressure of the renewable sectors on some areas of our region, which are particularly suitable and profitable for investments in the energy productions. And I would like to add here that we have heard a couple of contributions from biodistricts in the in the northern part of Lazio, which is one of these areas with a high pressure from the renewable sector in general. So this brings me to the second focus, which is the elaboration of the guidelines for the identification of non-suitable areas for the renewable energies. This is a regulation that is very important and that was lacking in our region from about 10 years. And we had to work on a very tight schedule to recover from this delay. And I want to take this opportunity today to thank our colleagues from Arcial because we have been working with them, and so I want to thank them for their proactive and also accurate contribution to the elaboration of these guidelines, which include, the guidelines are for non-suitable areas, but in fact, the guidelines also include the possibility for farmers and for farming enterprises, in particular those operating inside biodistricts, to operate as energy producers over part of the surface that they have available. And also the guidelines include specific role for agrivoltaic, defined as project approach for solar plants that guarantees the possibility to monitor the continuity of farming activities. So we have worked to the elaboration of this, to the preparation of these guidelines with two key objectives in mind. One is to ensure the achievement of the decarbonization objectives, which is the key part of the regional energy plan. But also we have worked with the objective of protecting agricultural activities with specific care on high quality productions, and also to fight the ongoing process of agricultural abandonment and cessation of farming activities, which is a phenomenon which is happening in our region. So these guidelines will provide now local administrations regional authorities and the renewable sector in general, and also the agricultural sector, with clearer criteria for designing, evaluating, and also for authorizing renewable plants in the region. In this framework, finally, the support to the creation of energy communities has played and will continue to play a central role for the regional government. And the reason is twofold, both technical but also political. From a technical perspective, energy communities will contribute to the resilience of the energy system and also to promote awareness in energy consumption. And if we think of the process of creating and managing an energy community, each member of the community will need to be always precisely aware of the energy production and consumption. And so this is an important aspect of the energy system in general. But even more importantly, from a political perspective, citizens and enterprises become owners of the energy that they consume. And this is the kind of revolution that we expect energy community to bring to our society, not only to the energy system in general. And this is the reason why the region is investing a lot in energy communities. Last year, we have already secured a first small package of about 2 million euros to support the creation of energy communities. And these funds will be likely released by the end of this year with the associated regulation that will have to be set out. In the planning of the European structural funds for the years 21-27, we have secured an additional 20 million euros to support energy communities. And we are working during these weeks to bring out the first round of financial support. And so this goes really in the direction of supporting the Agrores action plan. Also, of course, there is a role for the National Plan for Recovery and Resilience that will bring in the region an additional more than 80 million euros for small municipalities, and our energy department is following closely the implementation of these measures so that it can reach ground effectively. So I think that projects like Agrores, where we can share good practices and learn from others, are incredibly important for us in this moment. And because we all know that time is over in a way for energy transition, and we need to move on very fast. So thanks to Agrores, I think all participants in the project from different regions in Europe, Extremadura, North Karelia, from Ireland, here in Lazio, from Voivodeship, from the region of Bucharest and from Devon. We all have now ambitious but also realistic action plans that were prepared carefully, and which will provide, I think, an important contribution to the energy transition in our regions and in our countries in general. So thank you again for the great work with the project Agrores. And I think it's now time to go back to our offices and implement the action plans. Thank you again. Thank you very much.
Just one thing. Thank you, Sandro, and please thanks the assessora for us. I'm sure we will collaborate in order to create a synergy between us and amplify our respective actions, but also we hope to create real energy, of course, green energy. Okay, now it's your turn.
Okay, time has come to the moment you were all waiting for, which is not yet lunch, but you can ask your questions now. And yeah, if you have any questions, this is the time. Don't be shy. Please.
Me lo traduce? Il chiarimento è per la contea di Devon.
The question is for the Devon County. It's a clarification.
Sorry. Non si sente by streaming, they can't hear you.
Nell'intervento è stata menzionata la necessità, l'opportunità di implementare il numero dei siti produttivi per la produzione di energia rinnovabile.
So your intervention, you mentioned the need to implement a number of sites in order to have a self-sufficient energy community.
Qual è l'approccio delle comunità locali, delle popolazioni locali relativamente alla localizzazione di questi impianti? In parole povere, il fenomeno del not in my backyard, che in Italia è abbastanza comune, è presente anche nella vostra realtà oppure no? In caso positivo, quali sono le contromisure che vengono adottate, proposte, suggerite per superare questo tipo di gap, di ostilità da parte delle comunità locali?
So which is the reaction of the local communities, the local firms, or the individuals when you talk about implementing a new kind of energy plant? I mean, in Italy, the phenomenon of not in my backyard, okay, I'm happy to have renewable energy power plant, but not in my land or not in my field. So is this a problem for you too, or not? And if it is a problem, which are your counter proposals you put forward to the people rejecting the possibility of having a plant in their land, for instance?
I heard the other day the phrase "in my backyard," which supposedly is going to become a thing in relation to renewables. So the reason for that was that people are feeling that there needs to be a connect between the generator and the consumer for the locality. So if we can have local consumers, so the people, do you want to translate, or shall I? So I can talk to you. Yeah. So if you can create groups where you have those people who are generating and the consumption are together, then they can agree a price. And you could sell. I could be the generator and I sell to my local community, and the local community can get it cheaper than they're buying it from the grid. That's the idea. It can kind of work in Britain. Our regulations aren't very good because if I'm a generator and I want to sell to you, then I become a supplier. If I'm a supplier, I have loads of regulations that I have to then comply with. So I cannot afford to sell to you directly. So there needs to be changes in those relationships to make it easier for me to sell to you. But you're right, there has been public negativity around wind turbines in particular. There's a little bit for solar panels. However, any national survey that's done in the UK, everyone says, I'm absolutely fine about wind turbines. So I don't think the problem is as big as it seems. I think there are few noisy people who don't want these things. And the trouble at the moment is we have a government that is listening to the few, and so is not allowing new wind turbines. But I think if we can get those connections so that people can get something from, I don't think, I wouldn't want a wind turbine close to my house, very close to my house. But if somebody said, but you're going to get cheaper electricity, it's perfect. And they should have done that from the start. So that's the way to do it. But we need those regional, local type things. The other problem is around the scale. So to make it economically viable, generally it needs to be big sites. So you've got a lower cost per kilowatt. But that means big solar PV. And also you need a very large grid connection. Now, because of the grid problems in the UK, and particularly in Devon, getting connection, it looks like smaller sites, but they're more expensive. But they would be probably more, the people would be happier with that. So I think that's where we need to go. I think, you know, we need to go to smaller sites, but also giving local people the benefit of what is in their backyard.
Yes, there's another question, or an answer, or a comment. La faccio in inglese.
Vado, eccomi. Dunque, vorrei chiedere soprattutto per i partner dalle regioni che hanno una maggiore potenzialità per l'uso di fotovoltaico, se quindi forse immagino i colleghi dalla Spagna o altri, non ho un indirizzo preciso per questa domanda, ma volevo sapere rispetto all'utilizzo del fotovoltaico se esistono delle limitazioni specifiche rispetto alle superfici che le imprese agricole possono utilizzare per installare impianti fotovoltaici, e anche se esistono limitazioni specifiche rispetto alla integrazione fra le attività agricole e le attività di produzione di energia, molto simile a quello che descriveva ora il collega dal Devon.
So
Grazie.
this is a question for all the regions, and I don't have a very clear pictures of which they could be, so the ones who are interested will answer. Regarding the photovoltaic, so I think maybe it's more Spain, but even other regions. If you have any kind of limitations regarding the size of the photovoltaic plants that can be actually implemented in a territory, and if there is also kind of problem, restraints or limitation regarding the percentage of farming activities, I mean the land devoted to farming activities and the land devoted to photovoltaics. I just would like to know this kind of, I mean to know if there are these limitations. It's, yeah, for you or for the other countries that are more interested and more prone to use the PV.
So, in Spain we have a couple of regulations. One is related to the self-assessment. So you can build at maximum 1,000 kilowatts without any consequence. So you have to build in your land, in your ceiling, everything. No, you don't need to do nothing. If you have more than 100 kilowatts, you need to request for a permission to connect to the grid, etc. But this is in the ceiling for a smaller plant. You want to create a biggest plant, a huge plant in the countryside, we have a problem. Because we are now in Extremadura, Agenex, are working in the concept of agrovoltaic kit. It's the concept to join the photovoltaic plant, the huge photovoltaic plant, with the countryside, to use the corps together with the countryside. At the moment, only a few a smaller plant is permission, not with a lot of water, just because the water and electricity is the problem. And also we have a problem with just some cows or this kind of animals can mix in the country with the photovoltaic and the country. But now we are studying which kind of chain of regulation we need to do. But at the moment, it's complicated. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, I think we have now come to the end of the public event. In the afternoon there will be another section for Agrores partners only. I would like to thank all the participants who collaborate for us for this event, and I would like to mention all of them: Professor Torre, Presidente Ciarla, Assessore Onorati, all the partners, speakers, and Giancarlo Salamone from GSE, Massimiliano Matiuzzo from Biodistretto Etrusco Romano, Anna Cedrini from Biodistretto Maremma Etrusca e Monti della Tolfa, Andrea Ferrante from Biodistretto della Via Marina e delle Forre. I would like to say that in Lazio there are 7 biodistricts and that we are going to involve all of them. That to say Biodistretto Castelli Romani, Lago di Bolsena, Valle di Comino e Colline della Maseno. Thank you of course to Sandro Calmanti and to Assessora Roberta Lombardi. Thanks to the interpreter Gioia Smargiassi, to the technician Davide e Lazzaro that had a great job, and of course to Sabina Nicolella that helped me. And now we are going to have lunch organized by the Hospitality and Agricultural Institute of Domizia Docilla of Rome. It's the same institute that organized for us the video we had in the last international meeting of Rome during the lockdown, the Amatriciana story. Now, so for the one who are following us by streaming, enjoy the Amatriciana online. For all of us, let's have a good lunch. Bye. Please come here and say goodbye to everybody. Bye.
1, 2, 3, goodbye.
Bye.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Perfetto.
Finito, ragazzi.
Here we are now, at a catering institute in Rome. Since we can't unfortunately offer you a lunch break, here we have some students, ready to tell us all about one of our most beloved dishes.
La matriciana è il più famoso piatto del Lazio. Infatti descrive la storia gastronomica dell'Appennino centrale e della città di Amatrice, che è una cittadina a nord di Rieti. Era il piatto tipico dei pastori in transumanza che dovevano mangiare in modo leggero perché viaggiavano. Infatti cuocevano la pasta con farina ed acqua e poi la condivano con il guanciale sciolto in una padella di ferro e tanto pecorino grattugiato.
Ciao, io sono Alessandro De Angelis e lei è Martina Pollidori. Frequentiamo il 4º anno dell'Istituto Professionale Domizio Lucilla, sezione alberghiera. Oggi andremo a preparare un grande classico della cucina romana, la matriciana. Per questo piatto ci serviranno 350 g di rigatoni, 200 g di guanciale, 400 g di salsa pomodoro, pepe, pecorino, olio, sale, peperoncino e vino per sfumare.
Infatti la matriciana è fatta con i prodotti tipici del territorio, come il formaggio di latte di pecora, ovvero il pecorino, e il sottomento del maiale, ovvero il guanciale. Successivamente viene aggiunto anche l'olio di oliva e questo caratterizza le migrazioni in Sabina.
Come prima cosa
If you want to leave
mettiamo
your
sul
bags in
fuoco
here, the second
una
session
pentola
in
con
the afternoon will be
acqua
still
che
in here
andremo a
and the room will
salare
be
una
locked
volta
while we have
arrivate a
lunch.
bordo.
So
Scalderemo leggermente una padella dove andremo a cuocere il guanciale. Lo sfumiamo con il vino.
Gli amatriciani vennero visti come una popolazione di cuochi, infatti sapevano trattare molto bene la carne di pecora e di maiale e divennero grandi macellai.
Per la nostra ricetta abbiamo scelto di conservarci una parte di guanciale da usare per guarnire il piatto. Aggiungiamo la nostra salsa.
Alla fine dell'Ottocento viene aggiunto il pomodoro e questa è la versione che conosciamo oggi. La pasta da fresca diventa secca, infatti a Roma vengono usati i bucatini, mentre ad Amatrice gli spaghetti.
Thank you all very much. I know, it's not like the real thing, but hopefully it was just enough to make you all feel at home with us for a few moments. I'm sure we'll get another chance to meet in person. From Rome, Lazio, Italy. Have a great day.
Ciao!
Ciao! Ciao!
Ciao a tutti!